Welcome back, and joining us on the show now is Himanshu Agrawal. He's director at Satyam Balaji Rice Industries. Himanshu, hi, thank you so much for joining us. And rice clearly is on headlines today. We, of course, were reacting to the higher export numbers of previous year that got delivered a couple of days ago. And then the latest Fitch report, which says that for the year 2023, the rice crop would be the lowest in 20 years. How are you reading that?
So we have expected that because the sowing numbers in Kharif was pretty low, but then you see the exact cultivation figures that we saw was quite promising. So I generally don't feel that it would be a concern wherein we would see, because the sowing figures are up about 4.4% on overall crop basis. So the report that shows that it will be lowest in 20 years, I don't know where exactly this thesis is coming from, but to our concern, the pricing and everything is well under control. So I don't see any reason for concerns in terms of rice supply is concerned.
Himanshu, that's for Indian markets, or are you talking global?
No, I'm talking globally. I don't think there should be a concern because we are not seeing much of demand coming in from the African markets or the Southeast Asian markets. The prices are well under control. So any panic buttons to be pressed right now, that's not how I see it.
All right. Himanshu, the Fitch report also says that, one, it is about the Ukraine war, where Russia, of course, is not coming out with very supportive statements there. And then the weather concerns in Pakistan, China, even lower crop in US and Europe is where they see concern coming in from.
Ukraine was not really in picture in terms of rice global market, and in terms of US, if we talk about their import figures have been down from last year. So I would only see a concern if in case we see Thailand or Vietnam coming into picture with a crop concern, which so far has not been the case. We are seeing consistent supply from Vietnam and Thailand, which are the two other strong suppliers in global rice market. And as far as China is concerned, their rice consumption more than human consumption, it is for feed. So their feed market has alternate crops like maize, like soya meal. So I don't know. I mean, how exactly would China react to it? But otherwise, I would see there is a steady price wise, and the sanctions that India has applied on broken market supply and the duty on white rice are helping to keep the market under check. So, so far as bullishness in terms of pricing or any concern in terms of supply, as we would see it, that's not really a concern. And if you see the Indian government stock situation right now, that's pretty healthy as well. So, and the export figures that you're talking about has been higher side is all because of the spillover demand that we are seeing because of the restrictions put in by Indian government. So once this neutralizes, as we see right now, the exports are slipping as compared to 15 to 20 vessels that we used to see on rice on any given point in time last year, which has now come down to 5 to 10 vessels. So on month basis, if you would see Feb 2022 versus Feb 2023, the numbers are, well under control.
So Himanshu, you're saying that the Fitch report as of now needs to be taken with a pinch of salt.
Yes, I mean, indeed it should be, but in terms of global supply, there's absolutely no panic button that one should be looking at. As a matter of fact, we are rationing and we are talking to Indian government in terms of how we can restart the broken exports, and how it is discouraging the Indian white rice market on which they have imposed 20% duty, because we are constantly seeing that we are getting the price disadvantage and we are not as competitive as we were in terms of African market, because Thailand, Vietnam, and other countries are, they are being very, very competitive after the duty has been imposed.
Himanshu, last year's export numbers came in quite strong, 16% on the higher side, a record $11 billion. In sense of quantum, it wasn't so great though. Clearly because of the price, part of it is why we see that number. What's your sense for the new season now? I mean, as you said, you are in touch with the Indian government. There is conversation going on. What can be expected?
So we can see that, Indian rice export from $21 million, as I said last time we spoke, we're seeing it coming down to about 15 to 16 million, out of which about 4 million tons should be basmati, and the balance 10 to 11 million tons from non-basmati is what we can expect. And that too is dependent on how the quotas are released for the restricted rice categories, and how the government takes their stance for the 20% duty that they have imposed. So it is contingent to a couple of factors, how Indian government overall looks towards it. So I would say that 10 to 11 million tons is what export we can look into in coming years. And as
And
you
what's
see
your
the figures
sense?
of $11 billion, what you see, a majority of that comes from Basmati
Right.
sector because their prices are almost 3x of what non-Basmati prices are.
Himanshu, also a final question. So what's your sense on prices going forward? I mean, global prices have been all right. The Indian prices have been rising, but very gradually then. What's your sense for the, let's say, coming couple of quarters?
So we have the Rabi crop hitting us pretty soon in next 2 or 3 weeks time. So after that, we should see some softening in prices coming in terms of parboiled rice, and broken prices have come under good check because of first restriction by the Indian government, and second we have seen softening in maize prices. So broken and maize are the kind of substitute for each other in a lot of secondary market such as feed market, distillery markets, ethanol supply. So I would see that in short term we see stable to bearishness in the prices. In next 3 to 4 months is how I would like to assess the market.
Okay, we will let you go on that note. Thanks a lot for that. So that's a word on the global rise.